This episode is brought to you by Farmers Insurance. When was the last time you reviewed your insurance policy? So it's been a while, huh? Well, no worries. My friends at the Austin Brummett Agency would love to hear from you and provide you with some amazing rates. Give them a call at 678-402-8262 or email them at abrummett@farmersagent.com. That's ABRUMIT@farmersagent.com, and tell them Harley sent you. Insiders, Inside the Bubble with Harley G is now sponsored by BetterHelp. As a partner of this episode, listeners can access the BetterHelp link located in the show notes to receive 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp and get matched with a therapist who will listen and help. Go to BetterHelp, that is BetterHelp.com/inside the bubble, the link to get started. You're listening to Inside the Bubble with Harley G, the podcast for the superwoman. Every week, we connect with amazing individuals who share their inspirational experiences and stories while motivating and inspiring purpose. It's time to hang your cape. Grab your coffee, your water, your cocktail, and come on in Inside the Bubble with me, your host, Harley G. Insiders, you are tuned in to Inside the Bubble with Harley G. And today, boy, do I have a treat for you. I have on the pod today one of my, I can't even call you a friend at this point because it's so much more than that. It's like my sister, right? And
Yes.
So I moved to Atlanta in 2003.
Yeah.
2003, 2004. I was looking for a hairdresser, and I was actually staying with my roommate, and my roommate's friend referred me to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, okay. And I started seeing Poppy in 2004, and it has been almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah, you one of the originals.
Yeah, listen, I'm one of the original gangsters, okay? All right. And I was just like, and wherever you have went, I'm like, I'm right behind you. Like, what you doing? And then,
very loyal.
if she went on a hiatus, I was like, when is she coming back? When is she going to figure out this life?
But you still had like friends, family, benefits, right. Inside scoop on what was going on. You had that intel.
Yes, I was just like, where's she at now? Is she doing?
Yeah.
Oh, what are we doing?
It was a maternity leave.
There was a whole maternity leave.
Yes.
There was
and
a
then
lot.
There was the hiatus.
There was just life.
We were like in our early 20s, so we grew up together. Girl, I knew you before I knew my first husband.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, no, it was the same year.
It was right around the same time.
No, it was around the same time. No, because
right around the same
he
time.
and I met in 2003. We
got
married in 2004.
Yes.
I started doing okay.
Yes.
So, oh girl.
Yeah, right around that. That is crazy. We've had children literally at the same time. 3 days apart.
Yes.
3 days apart. We're both walking around wobbling together.
Yes, girl.
Just a lot. And your hairdresser is your best friend. You tell your hairdresser everything. When you sit in that chair,
we become everything. We become a counselor, a sister, a mama. Girl.
Yes, absolutely. So it's like therapy sessions and get my hair done at the same time.
And I will say, I'm going to piggyback off of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the detriment, or I would say that was what led to the overwhelm, meltdown, breakdown.
Yes.
Wearing that many hats, not knowing how to properly process, being that, and I didn't know at the time, I wasn't as self-aware, being that I'm an empath, and not knowing what to do with all the energy and information and pain. So it's like it's like a gift and an Achilles heel.
Yes. A gift and a curse.
A gift and a curse. Having the ability and the gift of being able to put people at ease when they come sit in my chair. and care about them and listen to their story and still, manage doing hair, trying to do all those things was too taxing, and it was too much
for such a long time.
For such a long time. And then for me, you don't realize until after the fact. Sometimes you'll attract people who have maybe the same wounds and the same traumas. So then that, certain situations would trigger my own stuff. And it was just this constant loop.
Cycle.
It was a constant loop, and it was a cycle that never got proper healing and care and releasing of it. I never emptied out the cup. You know what I mean? So
because whenever you would leave, you would come back, and so then it would just.
And then here's the thing: coming back, it wasn't like I came back. Well, I want to say it wasn't like I came back full and knew about proper self-care and things like that. I had a lot of the 2 times that I came back, it was out of need.
Okay.
And so when you're in a place of service, you have to be very careful how much you need and how much you're trying to give out, because you're giving from an empty place.
Exactly.
Yes. It was a lot of imbalance and disharmony. But on the flip side, so that's the lower part of it. Yes. But on the higher side is like I said, we were saying earlier, so many of you became my sisters.
Yes.
So I care about, I care about everybody in my chair, and connecting with everybody, so it grew me up. I've learned so much from so many of the women that I became, friends, sisters with. And it's helped me in so many different life changes, life shifts. So it wasn't, it's not all bad.
No, absolutely not. Well, you know what I always say, which is my mission statement is there's purpose in your story.
Yeah.
So that means that all those stories, all those experiences, situations that you've been through, there's a lesson in there. There's a purpose to it, right?
Very
that
true.
led you to where you are today.
Very true. Everything is interconnected. There's no separation.
Yes. So you did my hair for so many years. Okay. Yeah. As you can see. And well, I really want to talk about how you even got started into doing what you do. And I have to say, you always, and I'm sure a lot of women feel like this, but there was just something about you being in that field. You just mentioned when somebody came on, you felt their energy, you took it on, you're an empath. But I want to say on behalf of your customers and your other sisters, how much we appreciated that. I know that was a lot. And I didn't even realize it until late, that when I would come in, my energy would impact your energy, right? And it's even if I didn't say anything, it was just you could feel it, right?
Yeah,
and
I remember one of the last times we talked.
And I didn't, because I was just oh yes, I'm about to go see Poppy. I can unload, not thinking about the impact to you.
Yeah.
And I would come in and I'd have whatever energy it was. Sometimes it was good, sometimes not so good. And I would just unleash because I was this is my time. She's going to understand what I'm going through, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Not fully understanding the impact that it would have on you. And so it wasn't until literally lately, not too long ago, that I was I finally thought to ask, to be or you would say something and I said, well, I want to make sure
I remember that time.
That your energy
remember that time.
my energy doesn't, I don't impose that upon you.
Yeah.
But it took me a long time to figure that out. So I want to apologize for that because
thank you.
I know that had some impact. But you were always there. Yeah. You always listened. Yeah. You made us feel beautiful whether our hair was looking janky or not. Okay. So I truly appreciate that.
Thank you.
Because you're not just doing hair.
Yeah.
You're actually serving the person that's in your chair.
Yeah. And I know for sure, and I knew for sure in so many ways that was my purpose and reason for being here. And I'm pausing because I really want to kind of go back to what you were saying too. There was so much about me unspoken that when people came through the door, I wanted to be that person that I could be a safe place, and that you can release, and that you can unload, so to speak, very early on, a big chunk, probably 4/5 of the years that I've been doing hair, over 20, almost 30 years. I started when I was 15.
Oh my God.
But
okay.
Ultimately, and it has, everything goes back to my mother. My mother, I sat around and watched her do hair. I didn't have any ambitions to do hair. I was just always very curious about people. I loved listening to her and her girlfriends talk. I remember she would have so many different type of women in different economical background, economical brackets, and women with, different like guy issue, relationship issues. And it would be like the woman who's like a college professor, and then it would be like the single mom who's on public assistance, and some of them will have this same type of issue. So I was always just curious, and I would just, and also even as a child, 10, 11, 12, I would see these different women come in and admire certain women, and be it the way they dressed, how they carried themselves. I was very curious about the conversation, but I also was very curious what set people apart. Like, I wanted to know the nuances. What was the difference? Why was this woman this way, this woman that way? Why did this lady or this person have, and then the have not? I was always curious about people. And I always like to hear people's story, because people are going to tell you their story. And in the hair salon is the best place to unleash. Take the mask off, be vulnerable. And it was like masterminds, round tables, just a little bit of everything.
It was.
So I go back to that. I position myself always, especially since I must have known it just even as a child, because my mom had her own traumas and issues. And out of all my mother's children, I was the one who intentionally decided to be her friend. Because I wanted to understand her, even in the things that maybe I, blamed her for, or the things that the unforgiveness that I had, and stuff that I thought that she was doing wrong, and my judgments. I still wanted to be her friend. So there was a part of me that was almost like I was practicing coaching, and I was practicing therapy.
Yes.
So early on, I appreciate you apologizing, but there was a big part of me that my energy spoke. Bring it to me, tell me, share with me, let me help you figure it out. And then there would be times, and you knew it too, when I worked in certain salons, especially the last one at Nataki's, me and Aaron, another hairstylist friend of mine, we'd be up there and we had the same energy, and we would all be talking and helping each other and clients and coming up, and he's a guy, so he would give us male perspective. So again, there was so much about my energy that asks for that, right? Okay. And then to the burnout. In like 2015 is when I took off. I just abruptly took that hiatus and didn't have a plan. 2015, and then had to come back 2017 because I had to, because I didn't have a plan B, and I didn't take any, skills or I didn't do any other education outside of hair to be able to sustain my living. But I do remember coming back, and I didn't want to. And I didn't know that so much of my energetic vibration was tell me, let me fix you.
Right.
So I was like a resentment, and it was all it was just a mixed bag of she need therapy, but she ain't know. And I mean, now it's more popular and more acceptable in the African American community, but that was not really
it wasn't bad. Yeah.
And I had probably at least 2 people suggest that I get therapy, and I was a little offended, actually. I was a little offended back then.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't have health insurance to even pay for it. But even in that, there's ways. There's ways.
Absolutely.
Now it's way
better
more
help. There's a link.
Yep, better help. Yep. You said better help. Yeah, there's so many ways that you can, that it's much more affordable. But so there's that stretch of time between 2017, and I'm gonna go back to your question about how I started. 2017 up until probably right around the pandemic is when I started doing my own healing through personal development, which I've always been curious about personal development. Right. Yes. So I started doing my own healing and being my own therapist through like YouTube, like and all this, and realized and learned how to shift my energy and learn how to transmute energy and learn how to be, learned about my sensitivity and more recent. That's why I could tell the different, like when you showed up that time and when you asked me, like, how are you? And it was so interesting that up until then, I remember when you came in and as I became more aware of like my superpowers, I understood.
Ladies, I know there's so much to do and not enough time in the day. Trust me, I'm right there with you. But what are you doing for yourself? Well, I've recently discovered Body Bar Pilates. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Body Bar Pilates will challenge all of your major muscle groups and provide you with a full body workout. Wow. Listen, I had to check it out. I took a class with Sherelle and it was amazing. They have workouts for all skill levels, whether you're just starting out or you're just looking for a new way to move your body. This is the community for you. Check out my friends at Body Bar Pilates East Cobb or give them a call at 678-941-4371. And don't forget to mention me, Harli G.
I understood, that about me, but you came in and I could feel it, and you were really being very respectful of my energy, and you were like, I'm good. And I was like, you're not, though.
I know
I'm like, I'm gonna tell you why you're not. And we're so connected.
Yes.
Before you even got here, I could feel something.
Yeah. Wow.
I was, I had become even more sensitive where I could feel it. And so now, more tools and how to, what to do to protect myself and what to do not to keep and take on that on, but still be able to get into a space of being there for you and being being a safe place and holding space for you. And so when you came in and I was just like, hey, what's up? And you were like, no. And I was like, something. And you was like, well, how, are you okay with listening? I'm like, yep, I wouldn't have asked if I wasn't. And then we just it was just like our connection went deeper and we had a great moment together. And after you left, I was able to do what I needed to do to release that. You felt better. And so that for me showed me that I did the healing and I did the work that I needed to do, because like you were saying, everything, there's purpose in everything. There's so much about me that needed to accept that gift, know how to manage it, and know how to protect myself. You know what I mean?
That right there.
Yeah. So I just feel like life was going to keep giving me opportunities, even if I stopped doing hair and did something else, which I actually did. I've segued and done other stuff and still would draw everybody in to.
You're like, is there a sign
I could
on
be
forehead?
on the plane and somebody next to me is going to want to talk about their life story and make friends. But once you accept these things, I think you were asking me too about like purpose. And I'm like, man, I feel like my purpose is to heal wounds, get back to love, loving myself first, and then allowing that to spread out to everybody else. So I would say after the pandemic, I stopped blaming people or being mad, because I almost felt a little attacked, like, I'm gonna need y'all to stop bringing me this shit. I'm sorry, my love, because
okay.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm hearing you.
It's not okay. Like, no, like I was feeling like a victim, and like you said, you coming in and you're sharing because I'm like your sister friend, and this is kind of what we do in the Black community, coming into the salon, barbershop, and we share, we unload, we get answers, we work through our stuff, or we at least just vent.
Right.
And so, it wasn't like personal attack.
Yeah, no.
It's par for the course, but there were
You
times
just
when I
over
did
it.
feel like a victim, you know? So it feels good to come full circle, is what I want to say. But let me know if you want me to go into how I started, because I feel like I went there and zigzagged around.
No, it's fine. Okay, so you got started. How'd you get started?
So my mom, like watching my mom, being curious, being a nosy little kid. And then when I was about 15 years old, my mom did my hair. Well, back up. I got the Halle Berry haircut for my birthday.
Yes.
And I didn't get permission. I went to one of like the best hairstylists in my hometown. Got the Halle Berry cut. And I remember when I came in there, it's all right.
Listen, I've copied, and by the way, I have copied your hairstyles too. So it's like, you don't cut your hair, I'm going to cut my hair.
Listen,
you
this
gonna
is
get
what you do.
I'm going to get, like, this is what I do.
Hairstyles are like the original influences. So I went and got the Halle Berry cut. And I remember when I came in there, she like, did your mama know? Girl, and I was not one of those kids that really lie. But I kind of was like, So she was like, cause I ain't basically like, I ain't about to be cutting your hair and your mama don't know you about to get this haircut. I'm like, she this was my birthday. So girl, she gave me the Halle Berry cut. Girl, I came home. My mom looked at me. She said, and my mom, I come from an era where you get whoopings. My mom was like, I feel like if I whoop you, I'm gonna kill you. She was like, just get out my face. Get out my face. Girl, but I was fine. So had the Halle Berry cut. Everybody knows when you have a short haircut, that growing out phase.
Yeah.
So I had my mom braid my hair. I was in the growing out phase because I like to change my hairstyle up a lot.
Yeah.
Still, there's no part of me that wanted to be a hairstylist. So I'm trying to grow my hair out. Had her braid my hair. I probably wore it for a couple of weeks. My mom does hair, for a living. She does weaves and braids or whatever. Several people in my family actually do hair. So I come from a family of, in the beauty industry. Yeah. So I took the hair down. Didn't tell her, didn't even pre-approve if she had the time. Like, just so assuming, just a teenager, just so cocky. And I'm like, asked her to redo my hair. And she was just like, hell no, anybody told you to take that hair out? I done spent my time and did your hair and you take it out and you think about to redo your hair? Hell
2 weeks later?
It was a very short amount of time. Wow. It wasn't enough time to be taking a hair down. She was like, oh, you got me.
No, we're not about to
That's the original F around to find out. So girl, she didn't told me no. So it's like a Sunday and there's school tomorrow, girl. And my mom ain't here for you ain't about to skip no school because your hair ain't done. Yes. Girl, and of course she had braid hair laying around. My butt then got the braid hair, literally stayed up overnight, like did not go to sleep. Stayed up overnight, braided my hair, cut it into a bob, like with them old school. Remember them big old heavy scissors with the black paint on them? Cut it into a bob. My mom had Marcer irons, and this was originally the original dipping. So this is like 1993.
Oh yeah.
Like I had never heard of anybody dipping before my mom. So cut it into a bob. Use the Marcells. I'd already started trying to work with them because I had that little short hair because I done already burnt my hair a couple times. Curled it into a bob. I don't even know how I got this precise bob, but again, I think there's like this thing about like necessity breeds like genius or innovation.
Right.
Cut it into a bob, went to school the next day, ain't getting nothing then look asleep. Girl in school and everybody like, your hair look good. Who did your hair? I'm like, me, yeah, you lying. I'm like, no, I did. I remember, I think it was Aquanetta. I live on the west side, Erie, Pennsylvania. Aquanetta was like, I want you to do my hair. Girl, I did her hair before I knew it. I think I did like her mom or somebody older. So it went from me doing my own hair to getting clients at school to doing their parents to me and my mom both doing hair in the house.
Wow.
At 15. And so the Capricorn in me at 15, and I was behind a year because of my birthday. I was in 8th grade, I remember. So 8th or 9th. Either way it goes, the technical high school was 10th, 11th, 12th. Where you can get your cosmetology license. So I applied to the technical high school, got accepted, went in for my 10th grade through 12th grade year, came out of high school with just about the right amount of hours and was able to take my state board. But back up during high school, so I still was, braiding hair. I worked in a salon. I did nails and I braided hair in one of the most popular salons. The same lady who gave me the haircut, Shimei, who was like the baddest hairstylist in my hometown, like precision cut, like girl, but outside soon type. Right. Yeah, she's genius. She was my mentor. Wow. I worked in her salon, like I said, doing braids and doing nails, and I was able to get like a temporary license because I had a certain amount of hours. And then fast forward, when I graduated, I was able to rent a chair in her salon and became one of her stylists, and she mentored me. So that's how I started. It chose me.
It chose you.
But here's the funny thing.
I love it.
Here's the trend.
That's going to be the title of this podcast.
It
chose you.
It chose me.
It chose me.
It chose me. So it chose me. But here's the funny thing. There's always a thread of something. Within the first year, I got burnt out and I quit working with her. And I just went home and I just kind of stayed there and didn't know what I wanted to do. But I was just overwhelmed because, the energy. I still didn't, I'm only
15, 16, or 20, after high school.
And I actually lived above the salon. And here's the thing.
So you never got away from it.
I never got away from it. But here's the funny thing. So stopped working with her, just abruptly stopped because I just felt overwhelmed and didn't know what I was going to do. So other hairstylists heard about me. I didn't even know I was like known or popular. I remember another well-known hairstylist literally showed up at my door trying to recruit me. I was like, huh? And that was kind of the first time this kind of dawned on me, like,
I
might
really
be good at
this.
this, or people know me, like,
right.
And I declined, I respectfully declined, and then it took about a week or two, and had to work, so I went back to work, went to a different salon. I thought if I went to a different salon, that would be better. Stayed there for about 2 years, and then finally, that's when I moved to Atlanta. One of my dearest friends, Felicia Dunstan, went to Clark. I know.
Shout out to
She went to Clark, Atlanta, and she came home to visit. And I remember she would come home and just look like the breath of fresh air coming from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm like, I want a glass of whatever you having.
What is that?
And so I just prayed about it. It was between Atlanta and DC. I had another girlfriend, Missy Tate, in DC, and it was between either. And I actually went to DC more to visit and hang out and party. I came to Atlanta once, but when I was always, I think even before I understood, I always had this inner guidance, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, and doors open for me in Atlanta. And so I took that as a sign. And that's when I moved here in 2000, actually. But yeah, like, back to what I was saying, that common thread of burnout and not knowing what to do about that. And that's really prevalent in the hair industry too. You know, any service industry, burnout can be
exactly,
you know, prevalent. But yeah, that's how I started.
You're constantly doing employee relations.
Is that like, what it is? See, you know the technical terms.
I know, right? Well, that's because I'm throwing my HR weight around.
I love it. I love it.
But it's you're constantly dealing with people issues, and you have to have a deep love of people to be in this line of work. You have to. It has to be ingrained in you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to go to I feel like you will probably go to a dark place.
Yeah.
Because listening all day long to people, troubleshooting, fixing, advising, that's like, do the therapists have a therapist? Because they need to, right? Because, think about what's coming in. So at what point do you go into a safe place? So at what point do you get to release? So at what point do you get to separate?
Yeah. And I never knew how to do that. I never knew how to do that early on. It just took me, through on and off these hiatuses and searching for answers. And a lot of times I would be searching to help fix other people.
Right.
But really it was for me. Like, I have a coaching certification. I got certified during the pandemic. I had already started before the pandemic. And I didn't do much with my certification. 2 reasons too. One, I felt there was some imposter syndrome because there still was probably some therapy that I think that I needed. Right.
Okay.
And then another part, which I just recently learned, that as a coach, you need to be very, whatever training you get, make sure you know how to properly vet people, because some people need a coach and some people need an actual therapist.
That
and
right
you need
there.
to really know what that
separation is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so those 2 things were the things. And once I kind of came full circle, just recently, last year, I thought, A, you needed a therapist. B, you took the coaching because the universe knew you needed something. And that was really for you. That was really for me. It was really for me.
Wow.
It was really for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That what you just said is major, because one of the first basic foundations that they've actually taught us in the coaching program is the separation between a mentor, a coach, a therapist, a sport coach, and a consultant.
That is so good. That's even deeper. That's even more detailed.
Yeah, because they're like,
the program that I took, I didn't get that.
That was one of the first things.
Finding other coaches online that would suggest better help. And I kind of was getting little threads of it at the end of last year, into 2020. But literally just last month, I had the biggest aha moment from this online, she's a teacher and like coach mentor. And she broke that thing down. I said, oh,
yeah. So I was trying to be a therapist via coaching.
Ma'am, you are not properly trained and certified for this. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But that was one of the first things.
That's so good.
Just like,
yeah. I love that.
What?
I love that. And the love, I have to go back to what you're saying about the love of people. And I've always had that. There have been times when I was, wounded and needed help. And so needed self-love, actually.
Did you feel like you were getting that?
No, I was not. Times? No. I was in victim mode. So I didn't have it to give. I didn't even have the love for people. So there was a small period of time. And some people who know me and know me for a long time can probably remember that time period where I was probably really exuding, leave me the F alone. But that's all I knew. It was like almost like a wounded cat or a wounded animal in the corner. I'm scared, but it's like, don't come
fight
close.
For survival at this point.
Yeah, because it was very dark. I'm talking about dark to the point where if I didn't have a child, I would have probably unlifed myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Yes. So you get on this hairdresser path. Yeah. You're here in Atlanta. You start building your clientele because you're so amazing and fabulous.
Thank you.
And then life starts happening. You meet your husband to be. You get married. What's happening in the evolution at this point of you?
I am not even conscious enough to know. I am just on this treadmill and I'm on this thing. And so I'm checking all the boxes. I checked the religious box, and then through religion, I met the husband. So I checked that box. We did the travels abroad, the couples trips. We bought the house, the picket fence. Then we planned for the baby and we had the child. And then I was the stay-at-home wife. Well, I stay-at-home mom, and then this is when it gets a little sketchy. My first child was a stillbirth. So in between losing her, trying to heal from that, I was able to get pregnant with my daughter, who our children are the same age. Going through that, being a stay-at-home wife, all the things, and then I think my daughter was close to 1 or 2 when I saw my marriage unraveling because identities are unraveling. Because there wasn't a level of consciousness. There's this thing where you could do all the right things, check all the right boxes, but if their consciousness isn't there, then it's going to be this insatiable appetite of more, bigger, bigger, bigger. Give me, goals. And you're not in touch. You're not in touch with yourself. You're not self-aware. You're not even enjoying the things. And you've gotten all the things and you're not enjoying them. So what that looks like is me doing everything that I thought I needed to do. And let me backtrack to my upbringing, being raised by a single mom who did the best she could. She had 8 of us. I was lucky number 7. She had 8 of us on her own, public assistance. We didn't live, they call it the hood back home. I've seen more hood than hood. But for our standards, living in public housing, government assistance, all that. So that upbringing, being around, certain, drugs being sold and
exposed to certain environments.
Exposed to certain environments. There was a part of me in the back of my mind, I don't want that for me and I don't want that for my child. So
if I do this.
Yeah, so and so there's this emptiness when you get to the end of doing all the things and you're like, I still don't feel fulfilled. I still don't, and then you get married in your 20s, which so many people do, and they do fine, and they are able to both evolve together or not. There was a space of just at the end feeling super lost. Probably blaming him a little bit, blaming myself. It just not knowing. So that trend, that evolution, and going through all of that, it was just a mixed bag of tricks. There was so many things. And then so we lost our first child 2010. I finally gave birth to my second daughter 2012. What was it, 2014, I lost my mom. So there was a span of even 5 years of losing my first child, stillbirth, having a child, postpartum, marriage unraveling, identity, don't have an identity, losing my mom, getting a divorce. Oh my God. So between 2010? So by 2015, a year after my divorce, is when I hit that wall and I abruptly stopped. The only thing I could do was give myself permission to not go to work the next day. I remember doing my last client, typing up, because anytime I would move, anytime I would make any transitions, I was very vocal with you guys and let you guys know.
Yes.
I remember having anxiety, having 2 cell phones, couldn't keep up with stuff. I had an assistant that was, washing hair, doing the hands-on stuff, but I didn't know how to properly train anybody to actually do the admin, because so much of my admin and was my connection with you guys. I remember trying to give a little bit of that responsibility to an assistant, and she was burned out, and her energy and the way she replied, I'm like, No, you can't talk to people like that. No. I'm like, you can't feel the energy. You can't feel how you need to reply. You don't know how to soothe people. You got to soothe people. You got to calm them down. You could tell the person no, or you could collect the person up,
right,
without them knowing they just got collected up. And then even the Bible says a soft answer curb wrath. So I'm like,
exactly.
Hey, you gonna stir up some wrath. You gonna stir up some wrath.
Listen.
So there was that part. So all that to say, building up, stacking up. 2015. I remember my last client. I'm like finishing her, and I just remember because it was like the week before my ex-husband, he had traveled, and we have a good parenting schedule with each other, and so I had my daughter a certain amount of time where I didn't work because I was more flexible, and having that time away from work and just being with her, I just was asking myself these questions like, what am I feeling? Why do I feel like this? What? And I just remember like laying in bed, like, I don't want to go back into the salon anymore. And it was like so weird because I was like, man, I really love people. I really want to help them. I really want to fix people. Really.
Fixing. Yes.
But then it was this overwhelming feeling of I don't want to go back in there. I don't like how it feels. I'd rather stay here and be with her. And so trying to work through that. So I finished up my week with her, got back on our schedule. He came back in town, got her. I went to work, and I think I probably worked like Wednesday through Friday. And I remember it was a Friday. I wasn't even working Saturday. So I was able to kind of curate my schedule to not even work on the weekend. So I did all the things, trying all these different ways.
And it just flipping it.
Right.
Yes.
Last client, I'm doing her, and I'm just asking myself these questions. And the only thing I could do was say, I'm just going to give myself permission not to do this no more. I'm not coming back to work. And I was like, you know what I said? I was like, I'm not coming back in here. But you know what I would like to do? I was like, I would like to just meet my clients or people, have coffee dates and have conversations.
And then you can protect yourself from the conversation. Like, you now have the ability to, I don't want to say manage the conversation, but guide the conversation, right? It's to where you want it to go.
And be selective. But let's talk about the fact that there's always this part of me who just wanted to have conversations with people and talk, because there's a commonality, there's a thread. Me and you, if we really got down and dirty about some personal stuff right now, I bet you there's some things that we're dealing with similarly, energetically, But yeah, so that was 2015, and I think I came back 2017 because I, didn't have proper income or planning to sustain my way of living. And just kind of doing enough to get by and just sinking into really dark places from 2017 into 2019. At the end of the year is when I started the coaching program, because I was just trying to find a segue.
Yes.
And did that. And then the pandemic hit, which actually was funny. Did
you feel like you were like, oh, this is a blessing? I'm about to.
I promise.
I know you did. I know you did.
With all due respect for anybody who lost people, who it was just the worst time ever.
Absolutely.
I was like,
absolutely. But you were just like,
and I learned so much about myself. I was like, I'm an introvert. I like being at home, some day drinking going on.
I knew it. I knew you
were able to collect some unemployment money. I just cooked and got kind of juicy and ate and gained weight and was just at home, was happy. So I was cooking. I was actually offering my ex-husband food. Hey, I got some extra. I made this stew. I made this pot of soup, And I was straight being a housewife without
everything. Everything. You were like, y'all.
I said, this is great. What?
I knew it.
Let the world be the way it's gonna be.
I felt that in my soul.
But
I knew it. I was like, she straight up enjoyed this.
Yeah, so it helped. It helped a lot with even just having time with myself. Self-growth. As much as I could deal with that.
Yes.
And then that's when, at the end of that year, I hit that wall again in that space of, okay, what do I need to do to sustain my living? And so I reached out to one of my dear friends, Summer, who works in the film industry. And I got an entry-level job, health and safety on the COVID team. And I worked in that industry, and it was so funny. Some of the things that I've learned in personal development, reinventing yourself and putting yourself in environments where you know nothing and you knew, can be really good for you too. Brings out things in you that you didn't realize you had, your strengths. And, you know, it's really good to shake things up, because sometimes if we don't like
Change.
balance,
Yeah. Yes.
you know, life will bring you challenges.
Right.
So maybe you should choose them.
Yes.
And so working in that industry for a short amount of time, it's not conducive for a family or a single person. So I kind of did that on and off, and here on and off from the end of 2020 up until the end of last year. Stopped doing both. But I learned a lot about myself, and I feel like what maybe I could have healed in therapy maybe a year or two. It took me about 6 years with doing my own research, getting online, following a lot of the personal development gurus, and just, you know, just learning a lot about energy and frequency and love, and just doing the work, meditation. I've got certifications in meditation and all that, but just doing a lot of things, trying to understand me. Something about, if I can understand me, I can understand people. And come in full circle. And I love people again. I like people again. I like me. I love me. But yeah. And I wouldn't change anything, like you were saying about, you know, your purpose and everything is connected. I wouldn't change anything about how it all played out, how my life has played out. So I'm in a new season now, and a new podcast.
That is so exciting. Oh my goodness. That's amazing, because, you know, we go on this journey. I feel like at some point things I have the saying, life be lifing. Life is going to be lifing, or like nonstop, right? So you have to be intentional about, I can get caught up in this current and get caught up in that life, or I can be intentional and do what I need to do. One of the things that you said multiple times is truly loving yourself. And I'll be transparent and say, I'm still learning how to do that.
Oh my God.
Because for me, it's a journey. And it is.
We
were just talking before the podcast. I realized something, and I was telling Poppy about it. I was like, I realized that yesterday about myself. And I'm like,
and I'm like, ooh, I get it. I can think back to those times.
Yes.
So to piggyback off of what you were saying about like loving yourself and self-love, and learning it, and it being a journey, that is, and it's never ending, because we change and we evolve as humans. And so there's a new version of you that you're going to have to embrace and incorporate. And then also embracing your flaws or your pains and parts of you that are unhealed, and that inner child and all that. So I don't think there's going to be I don't think it's a destination with the self-love thing.
Exactly.
But you can feel when you at least are at a neutral or above neutral.
Or even when you're stuck.
You can feel that too. That's true.
So I have been struggling with, even though I felt like I was actually doing more to connect with my spiritual side, with my faith, but I have been struggling with it out of a rut since last year. And I'm like, I don't understand what's happening, because no matter what I'm doing, I can't get unstuck from here. And I'm like, I'm waking up early. I'm making sure that the first thing I do when I open my eyes is meditate, pray. And I have been consistent with that. I'm like, dude, I'm doing it. Like, what is the problem? Why can't I move from where I am? And I was just like, oh, I keep trying, I keep failing. I keep trying, I keep failing. And about a week ago, I had a conversation with my sister, Gabby. Shout out.
Hey, girl. Hey, I love your sisters.
I had a conversation with her, and we were both talking just about where we are right now in life, and some things that we feel like we just, like, this obstacle is in front of me, and I can't shake it for some reason. And I feel like I'm doing the right things, but obviously there's something, right? And we were like, okay, we're going to fast. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it together. And I was just like, oh, okay.
And it's so powerful.
This is what we're doing. Okay. So every day this week, Monday through Friday, we got up at 5:30, included the other sister in. She didn't have a choice. She just gets roped into these situations.
I love y'all.
Nini's like,
Musketeers.
how did I get here?
The three Musketeers. Y'all are so adorable.
5:30, we called each other up and we prayed together. We're in remote locations, but we called each other up on the phone and we prayed together at 5:30. every morning this week. And when I tell you yesterday, it all came together. It was just like, I could already see some things moving.
That's good.
And I'm like,
I love that.
What? And then I was like, my mom, my parents do this. Fasting is a regular part of their lifestyle.
Yeah, your parents are powerhouses.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
They
sometimes
understand.
40 days. It's like,
but
it's part of their lifestyle.
See, think about it though. I think about you and how fit you are and how you understand. I know you, if I'm not mistaken, you intermittent fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know how healthy that is for your body, your blood cells. So
I couldn't do that, Poppy. I got to a point where no matter what I did, I couldn't do it.
Oh, so that's how you knew. Okay, I need to check something.
Exactly.
Because you're very disciplined.
Nothing was aligned.
You are the person that gets up before everybody when it's dark outside to go
workouts,
running.
I'd sleep
to go run in the gym. Like you,
and I wasn't depressed. Like it wasn't like I was depressed.
Yeah.
I had my purpose. I'm walking in my purpose.
Yeah. You spinning a lot of plates, but you do it really well.
Yes, and I'm doing.
And you're doing the things that you want to do.
I'm doing everything, right? But it's not aligning. It is not aligning, and I'm like, something is off. Yeah. Like something is off.
It's so good to be aware of that and say something is off. If for nothing else, to be able to do that, is so great.
Yes.
I mean, because I know the years that I was on the treadmill and didn't know. And I could look over at my ex-husband at the time, and sometimes, and I won't share too much because for privacy purposes, I feel like I could see it on his face that he knew something. There was a disconnect.
Wrong. Yes.
Me, I was disconnected. I was disconnected from myself and from, that bond in a way. And
that translates to, and when you are like that, when you are in that state, it translates to everything.
It does. Yeah.
Work.
Oh my God. It's going to show up everywhere.
Family.
You better pay
everywhere.
attention. What
everywhere.
I think Oprah always talked about, she said, God, it starts as a tap, then it's a knock, then it's a doggone bang and a bam at the door.
Like the popo.
Yeah.
We have the door.
Like the feds knocking it down.
The feds. Yes. And I was just like, what is happening? And
that's so good though. Do you have your sisters and you have that power? It's almost like mastermind power.
Exactly.
And it was faith just in numbers.
And like this week, I mean, we got up, we were diligent, we committed, we did it. And I just feel a fresh breeze. And I feel like the fog is finally lifted.
Ooh,
and
so
although
good.
I might not have all the answers, but I'm
fine.
Clear.
But
like
to get
the clarity
unstuck
is
so good.
I'm unstuck.
Clarity
I
and
am unstuck.
being unstuck and the clarity, that's
exactly.
The
I was like, because I was like chasing different balls. I was like,
oh my God.
Yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, no, like this comes next. Wow, that's great, but it's not my time yet.
As I said earlier, I bet you if we start talking a little bit more personal on or off camera, we're going to find that there's something, it's a common thread. I was cleaning out my desk last week. I had all these legal notepads and I have journals and I had loose paper and I was working on a hobby of mine. So I was looking for a certain paper. And so I pulled all this stuff out and I was like, man, I got all these legal pads. I probably had maybe like 7 or 8 of them. Wow. And each of them had maybe only a couple of pages written in and that was it. So like this one was for this one was for the book, this one's for like another project, whatever. And I was like, I looked at all this stuff, Harli, and I said, you haven't completed anything in like 2 years. The last time I completed something was my first book, self-published. I'm like, you got all these different projects, windows open. One paper had all of the different stuff. And basically I was like, you all over the place. So I pulled them all out, ripped out some pages, kept what I needed to keep, stacked them, completed the task of cleaning out the desk or at least organizing it, putting stuff down. And I sat down, and this is one of the prayer prompts for my upcoming book that I'm just about finished with. I got to finish editing. I said a prayer. I said, all right, dear God, I said, what can I focus on right now that will be the most productive, that will yield the most productivity? What can I focus on right now that will yield the most productivity? And so before I said the prayer, I had grabbed some blank paper because I saw one paper where I was writing in cursive and it was very pretty. And that was very therapeutic. So I was like, I'm just going to take some paper and just write in cursive. I'm going to sit in my bed. I'm just going to write in cursive and just in therapeutic, whatever words, like I think they call it free writing or whatever, or I don't know. It was just very therapeutic. So I was just going to do that. So I grabbed all this blank paper and said the prayer. was writing, and some paper was stuck out in between. It was probably about 15 sheets. They were all blank, clean. I got rid of the other ones that had stuff on them. I pulled on these 2 pieces of paper. One was a project that's been in my heart, something that I have been wanting to do since before I was even married. I've been wanting to do forever. It's something I'm obsessed with, but I didn't think that I could make a business or a living out of it because I'm like, everybody's doing that.
Doesn't matter.
And I knew it was a sign. I said, oh, this is what I'm supposed to focus on.
You just asked them.
Because you love. I laughed and I started crying. So I pulled it out and I had stuck. I actually tried this business in 2017 with a dear friend of mine, and we hit a wall and we both had stuff going on. Life was life.
And
I've asked her probably a year or 2 ago, does she want to do it? And she was just like, no. I said, well, do you mind if I keep the name and I do it? She was like, I don't mind. But in my mind, I'm like, if this blows up, she's still included, whatever. But I never had the gas. I never gave either. I don't know if I didn't give myself permission. I think a lot of it is self-worth, where you don't even feel worthy of. And then there's
that
fear,
syndrome,
all of that, right? So I pulled it out. I looked at it, and this was an idea, but I went back to the original idea. So got online, typed something in, literally every website. All I got to do literally is just hit a button, and the samples will be to me in 2 weeks. I said, ooh, okay. This was last week. All I got to do is just hit one button. I will have samples in 2 weeks. Driving, working, literally got downloads on marketing. I'm not trying to even think. I said, oh, this is God, because I wasn't even trying to think of it. I was getting the downloads, and you know how you start to get the goosebumps. And 2, you have to be very, you have to respect that when God, whatever you feel is.
But you have to allow yourself to receive it. If you're focusing on, I got to do this. I was
totally about to just talk myself out of it. And then it was like a moment where I pulled over and I went to my notes and I was like, you need to write this stuff in, because A, either you're going to forget, or B, God is going to give this idea to somebody else. Did you ever hear about that story that Michael Jackson tells? I don't know if it's a business manager. So he hears the song Butterflies. He gets the lyrics in his sleep. Like, he wakes up in the middle of the night, calls a sound engineer, and I could be butchering the story, calls a sound engineer and was like, we need to go in the studio. I need to record this song right now. And he's like, Michael, you do realize it's like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And he said, if we don't record this song now, the universe is going to give this song to Prince. Because at the time, that's when they were both really. What's the lady who wrote Eat, Pray, Love?
Yes, I know exactly.
She has a book too, and she talks about Elizabeth. I forget her. She talks about the ideas are in the ethers, right? And whoever allows them, makes himself available to bring them. And this stuff ain't original. This ain't ours. So that was a moment when I got the first download. I'm like, ooh, the universe is giving you. God is giving you. And so, okay, so. Did the research. Everything is at my fingertips, like way easier than I thought. And I sat there and I was just like, oh my God. And then I went back and started thinking back to when I originally wanted to do this. I'm like, oh, this is passion. This is in your heart, but you've tucked it and hid it so deep, so far in, that it's almost like you're what do they call it? It's like you're in breach of your truth. It's like you're abandoning something that lights you up, that excites you. You're abandoning it. You're aborting it before you even allow it to come to full conception. And then also the last part is, you hear like Tony Robbins and all these gurus say, it's less about the goal and it's who you become on the way to the goal. So if for nothing else, I was like, I love who this is going to allow me to be. To uncover and do this thing. And I love that my daughter gets to see me make something out of nothing. So.
Oh my goodness. Oh my. Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm trying to take it all in right now.
Yeah. So it's a lot.
It's beautiful. So tell us about, share with us your book. You wrote a book.
Yeah. So it's an affirmation book. So, but it's like it's a merge of affirmations, confirmations, and prayers. And when I say confirmation, it's when you really study ancient texts and you understand what the Bible says, that, you know, we already have the thing. We already have the ingredients. We already have it in here.
Yes.
And so asking it is given. It's almost like, and so the prayer part is I'm getting God involved. And because if he said, I already have it, it's in my heart, I already have the ingredient, you know, law of attraction, whatever you want to decide has a hand in creation. I start the prompts start out with, and it's in different subject matters categories, from abundance to career to courage to parenting and, you know, progress at work, whatever. So it's like a devotional. But the way I started the prayers out, the affirmations out, is I wonder why I am dot 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 dot. So it's like, I wonder why I am this thing, or I wonder why I have this thing. I wonder why I am abundant. I wonder why I am powerful. I wonder why I am courageous. So it's asking, it's a wondering, and it's a asking, why is this? Because a lot of times when we have things go wrong in our lives, we're asking, man, why did this happen to me? And surely you asking why something happened to you, or asking, you know, what was the meaning of something bad, you're going to keep getting evidence of that. So if you can ask about something that may be impending that you have not actually, that hasn't manifested or materialized, God is going to show you evidence and opportunities to, and paths will open up for you to get to that thing. So, and then also there's certain affirmations in the book where you ask, what would it require of me to be this person, or what would it require me to have this thing? You know what I mean? So there's that too. So it's, like I said, it's a cross between prayers, affirmations, and confirmations. And it also allows you to get back involved with becoming a match, or becoming the person that has the thing, or becoming the person that is this person, this type of person that's a match to do this thing, or to have this goal, or, you know, so yeah.
Wow. Okay. So if our listeners wanted to get their hands on the book, how could they find it?
So I self-publish through Lulu. So funny, Lululemon now. Lulu, that's her little favorite clothing line.
It is.
Lulu's LULU, lulupublishing.com, or it's lulu.com.
Okay.
And so if you get on there and you look up, you can look up Poppy Robinson, or you can look up A Wonderful Little Book of Possibilities.
Okay. So we'll make sure to include it in the show notes, so that
I'll put the link in there.
The listeners can have access to it. But so now we are here. And so we've heard about your story. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
And we've heard about the evolution. And so now you're here. What's next?
So I'm working on another book. So that one I wrote 2 years ago, and that was I went into my notes and through all the personal development and all the courses that I've taken, and just, you know, learning and trying to unpack some things, is why I came up with so many of the affirmations. And so that was that part of me, and that was like the first chapter, the stepping stone to me becoming the woman that I want to be. And so the second part is, what happens when you can't manifest the thing that you want to manifest? What happens when the prayer, the affirmation, all the things don't work? Because there are instances where, you know, you're 1 year, 1 month, 2 years in, and you aren't that person, or you don't have the results that you want. And what I've realized, and that's for that, because we all know there's levels to understanding. There's levels to where a person is in their spiritual journey.
Right.
And so that book is very powerful. I'm so honored that God chose me to actually produce that. So this other book I'm working on, this is about when you up level and there are distortions, old stories, and belief systems that are either hiding, tucked away, or that you don't even remember that are there, or could be even genetically passed down, these blocks. And so this one is about coming to God and giving him permission to dissolve those blocks, to remove them, and then allowing yourself the permission to be this next up level version of you, and to embody whatever the thing is. Yeah, this one is about clearing out the debris.
Yes.
And then, of course, getting God involved and allowing him to, blind spots.
Yes.
We
have them.
Like
they're there.
You're getting infinite intelligence involved. You're getting God involved. You're getting him involved because he sees way more than we,
Yeah, his purview is.
This is what I'm saying.
All encompassing.
So this is that part, and then in biblical text, it talks about that how we are. My pastor used to say we're free moral agents, so we have free will. So this, keeping in mind that we have free will, sometimes, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, where we all have our assigned, and this may be guardian angels since since birth or whatever. A lot of times they can't get involved with our free will. So this is me asking for supernatural help, allowing you ask for supernatural help, give them permission to help you clear out the blocks, right? And then give yourself permission to step into that, activate it, and be this person. And that could come in the form of, God will start giving you signs and showing you, what to do. You knew after a while talking to your sister, before you know, you roped everybody in and y'all went on a fast. It was these little breadcrumbs.
Yes.
So that's the next book. It's powerful prayer prompts. And I've seen some results, just me writing it. So I feel really honored for that. And then, like I said, this creative project that's been in my heart for a long time that I'm obsessed with. Okay. I'm not going to speak about it now because I really want to, it's in the infant stage. So I just really want to nurture it. And I'm excited about that. And then what else? Those are the two things right now. I have a list of things, like you were saying, like it's all these things, but I just want to give my focus on these two things and allow them to mature. Right. And
be intentional.
See what comes of it. So,
well, amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm like, this is really like my sister is over here just spitting. She's dropping knowledge. I hope you guys caught this because these were gold nuggets that you dropped today. Really appreciate that. And we are looking forward to seeing you continue to evolve on your journey of purpose, because it's about, like you said, it's bigger than us. It's bigger than us. Yeah. And it can be so easy for you to get distracted. And so you have to protect that purpose.
That's so true. Distractions are so real all day, every day.
Real thing. Absolute real thing. So, well, thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Thanks for having me, Harli.
And sharing your story with us, being vulnerable. Yeah. And I'm sure there is somebody listening that's like, wow, okay, I can do this. Yeah, you inspired, you motivated someone today. And I really appreciate that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So insiders, that is all we have for today for our show. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. But I might be a little biased. So
I love the work you're doing. And thank you. Like even just talking about it and you asking me and me practicing, just articulating, because so many times we're in our head about things.
Absolutely.
And like you said, somebody could be helped by your story, but we're in our head and we think we're alone and it's just us and we've been singled out.
Don't matter. Doesn't matter.
So, so thank you for giving me an outlet to share.
Yes. That is why we came inside the bubble.
I love it. I'm so excited.
And yay. And so we drop episodes on Mondays. Okay. Make sure to tune in. Make sure to check it out. And you know what I always say before signing off, there's purpose in your story.
I love that.
I hope you enjoyed our show today. Hit the subscribe button and share. Share this pod with your family, with your friends, with your girlfriends. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Inside the Bubble with HG. Keep the conversation going. Drop us a heart emoji. Engage with us. We would love to hear from you. New episodes are dropping every Monday on your podcast streaming platforms. And remember, there's purpose in your story.